Hello, Money Multipliers. Welcome back to another episode of the Money Multiplier podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Kessler, and we ask ourselves, do our dollars make sense? So today we're out here in the beautiful island of Maui, Hawaii, and I'm joined by my good friend, Jon Hearl here. So hey, Jon, what's going on?
Hey, Money Multipliers.
So actually, some of y'all may have noticed, Jon, on past episodes, we're going through like a book review, book study on The Creature of Jekyll Island. I know we had to put a pause in that for a little bit. Life has been kind of hectic and crazy for myself and Jon. And actually, Jon, just real quick, because what you do is really, really cool. You should share a little bit about what you do in your everyday life.
So yeah, I kind of work in the tech industry a little bit. I do drone light shows. So the company I work for is called Firefly Drone Shows. We build a lot of drones and do some cool stuff. I personally travel all around the country, actually flying the shows. I'm one of a handful of pilots we have. So day to day, that's pretty much what I'm doing. Is I'm on a plane, I'm in a hotel somewhere else, wherever it might be for a show. Yeah. So yeah.
And we met in Daytona Beach is where we met at. But actually, we grew up not very far from each other in Kansas City. So I grew up in a town, Olathe. I was going to the Olathe High Schools and the schools over there. And then you grew up in the Blue Valley District. And then that's where you graduated from.
Yeah, so I went to Blue Valley School literally down the street. You know, I remember playing football games against all the Olathe schools. We actually found out talking earlier, it was like, so I used to swim in middle school and I swam at the school that she went to middle school at. Yeah. Just doing club stuff there. So that's kind of funny too.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of funny. It's weird how you get older and then you have those connections of people that you meet in other cities as you move out of the homestead area where you grew up at, and then you move somewhere else and you're like, oh shit, you used to live there? You went to school
you're
there?
Like, this world's a whole lot smaller than I thought it was.
I know. So anyways, we're over here. We're recording at the Ritz-Carlton Resort in Maui. And we actually didn't plan on doing an episode. I brought my equipment out here. I was just going to do a whole bunch of solo episodes. So that's why I didn't bring my mic stand. So we had to find something as a mic stand so that we could record. So I think we did a pretty good job, though.
Yeah, I think you did a great job with this little tissue holder mic stand right here.
So anyway, so we're out here. What really got us thinking about recording an episode today is because yesterday we had a really nice time. We were hanging out by the pool. We're here for some meetings with an insurance company that we do business with. And I get a +1 on my trip. So I brought Jon with me down as my +1 guest. And so we had meetings in the morning time. Then in the afternoon, it's at your leisure. So we're just hanging by the pool. We're talking with a whole bunch of colleagues and friends. And Jon and I just had some really good conversations. I was like, oh my gosh, we should do a whole episode on what goes on in Jon's brain. So that's what this episode's going to be about. And almost even tying it to like, where do you want to go in the future? What's on your bucket list items? A lot of people who are there in their later stages of life, I mean, even terminally ill people, you guys have seen that like on social media. They'll ask those folks, well, hey, what is one regret in your life? Or what is one thing that you wish you would have done more of or less of? And we kind of got on that conversation. And so I kind of even want to talk about where do we see the life going and what do we want to pursue in this lifetime that we have here on this beautiful earth that we're just blessed to live every single day. So I don't know, really no total agenda that we have talking here today. We're just going to kind of talk and shoot the shit. And hopefully this will be a fun little episode as we record.
Yeah, for sure. So
grab a drink. Grab a snack. You can join us. We're having Coronas today. Cheers. And we'll be right back here, and we'll get into the episode today. So let's talk about it. Jon, what's the first thing you're thinking of right now? What's going on in your head?
So I'll put the disclaimer in there. Jon's head is sometimes a frightening place to be. There's a lot of thoughts, voices. I don't know what they're talking about sometimes. But kind of going into what we were talking about yesterday, and I even stole one of Hannah's books while we were hanging out at the pool. Just kind of got reading into that. But back to, where do you see yourself, creating the life for yourself that, you can live regret free, I guess, is a very important question. I guess really no matter what age group you're kind of in. And I always look back and doing a lot of job interviews or, interviews for school or whatever you might be doing. You always get asked, where do you see yourself in 5 years, right? Mm-hmm. I know doing a lot of networking stuff here, we've been asked that question to a lot of other people as well, no matter what side of the business we're on. I think one of my favorite answers for that is, I can be like, I honestly don't really know where I see myself in 5 years. And that's a good thing. If I look back 5 years ago, I am not where I thought I would have been. I would not even remotely think where I'm at right now is where I would have been 5 years ago. And I love that personally. I love living my life just kind of, I guess, I don't know what word I'm looking for, on a whim, being able to do the things I love. Is the main, I guess, drive I have. So I'm kind of whatever makes me happy is what I'm going to go do. And I will always have that drive to be able to go do those sorts of things.
Well, and that's how you find yourself doing the business that you're doing now with Firefly, because you were making really good money at the previous company. Because Jon went to school. So the reason that he was down in Daytona Beach, there's a school out there called Embry-Riddle. A whole bunch of pilots will go there. Whatever other majors they have there. I just know it's the pilot school is what I call it. But when you were there, you were making really good money at that previous company.
Yeah, so I'll do a little further detail. So when I graduated college in 2020. Not a great time to be looking for a job. But, just one of my skill sets, I love working with my hands, so I have a really good background there. I actually got a job doing HVAC work for a while during COVID. And, one of the things I've noticed recently is a lot of the trades right now, you can get just really good salaries working in trades. Yeah. So I was actually able to do very well. And I traveled a lot too, which is really nice. It's one thing I love doing. But yeah, making really good money doing HVAC stuff, just working on air conditioning systems, walk-in fridges, freezers, that sort of thing. But eventually I was like, you know what? I got enough money in the bank. I can afford to be able to do something I really want to do. And that's kind of when I started looking for something that I would be passionate about. And that's really where I found Firefly, this drone company. And since I've been there, it's been an absolute blast. I can definitely say I'm one of those people that I don't work for a living. I just do my hobby for a living and somehow get paid at the end of the day. And that is just the best place to be for me.
Yeah. Well, because here we have group dinners. All right. So the first night we had the awards banquet. The next night we did the luau. I think that was the next night. We did, it was really cool. We went to this little luau and they put on a whole show for us. And a lot of people, I was sitting there talking with even the CFO at this insurance company. And I brought up that song, Dirty Heads, right? The vacation song. Hey, every single day, if you love your occupation, it's your vacation. And I think everybody needs to find that for themselves in their life, because if you're just going to that 9 to 5 that you freaking hate, you are just wasting your life away with things that doesn't bring you fulfillment, gratitude, or joy. What life is that to live? No matter if, okay, maybe I'm making 6 figures working at this HVAC company. I don't really care because it's not making me fulfilled. I'd rather be over here. All right, maybe I'm not making as much, but I'm passionate about it. It gets me up out of bed every single day. Exactly. So I'm proud of you for finding that.
Thanks. Yeah.
So actually, too, yesterday, so the book I was reading by the pool, it's Understanding Money Mechanics by Bob Murphy. Bob Murphy used to be a part of the NNI, the Nelson Nash Institute. Now he's gone off. He's doing some other things. He actually has a company called Infinio. And this one's a little quirky. Let me talk to y'all about this. They are actually figuring out a way of how to take the infinite banking concept out of the United States, Because, right, I mean, a lot of people comment on my YouTube channel saying, hey, does this concept work in Australia or New Zealand or South Africa, right? Wherever y'all are at, you guys want to know, hey, does this concept work here? And the short answer is no, it really doesn't. I mean, yes, the concept and the process of being your own banker can work anywhere. And y'all have heard that in my past episode I recorded with Chris Noggle, how we talk about, hey, the infinite banking concept out of the United States. But the vehicle or the product to use here in America, we want to use the product of a whole life insurance policy that's with a mutually owned company that's designed for immediate high cash value, or AKA allowing us to have those paid up edition riders attached onto the policy. And, whole life insurance is just not available out in other countries. So Bob Murphy, he's actually out there trying to configure a way of how we can take a whole life policy and integrate it into those foreign markets. And so it's a little over my head right now. It's kind of talking about, crypto and these securities and different things like that. And I'll just be real, it's not my passion to know all of that whole world of the money space. I really focus on the real estate, private lending, and banking with my policies. That's kind of where my expertise lies. But just like Nelson Nash always tells us, don't hit the arrival syndrome, be open, learning more and more every single day. But I'm just in the middle of that book, Understanding Money Mechanics, and just talking about how we have gotten to the point of where we're at now in the banking industry in here. So I'll ask you, reading a few chapters, because Jon likes to nerd out on that stuff, and he does play around in the markets too. You'll do some trading. Have there been nuggets that you've been picking up on since reading in there?
Yeah, there's been a few things, and I literally just had this thought while we were just talking about that. So we'll edit this out if it sucks, but if it's not, we'll keep it in there. It might be good. One of the things that I have a policy. I practice the infinite banking concept. Fortunately, I don't have a whole lot of debts. I live my life pretty. I'm on top of my finances, I think is a good way to put it. But the mindset is the most important thing of utilizing infinite banking. A whole life insurance policy is just the vehicle of it. I would say it would be harder to, I guess, leverage those capabilities if you didn't have access to whole life, but you could still be able to utilize a lot of the concepts and I guess the big picture ideas of not having to rely on a traditional bank to finance the things that you want or need in your own life. And I think that is a pretty important thing to just, I guess, be aware of, right? If you would agree with something like that.
Yeah, you don't have to know or even understand the market cycles. I don't care if we're in a low market, high market, if it's volatile right now. Crap, I go down and lay my head on the bed every single night, not stressing about what's going on in my money life, because I know that I'm locked in with these guarantees that are supported inside of my life insurance contract. And not a lot of people talk about that. Most financial advisors, when they come to you, they want you to go and invest with your savings money. Hey, this is the money that I'm saving and I'm keeping, and let's go invest with that money, and I'm going to get you the highest rates of return with that. Well, oh my gosh, what if you go out there, like my father, for instance, when he was back being a chiropractor, I don't know how he got into it or how he got connected with this guy, but he was talking to him about putting money into an oil well. All right, well, now everybody's smart and we all understand that, hey, if we go and invest in the oil well business, hey, if you dig a hole in the ground, there may be oil there, there may not be. Well, Pops went in there, invested 30 grand into this oil well. Well, guess what? It was dry. There was no oil in there, and now you're out $30,000. I'm never going to tell you how to go make the money, how to go invest the money. It's all about how to keep the money in the family and keep the money that you're already making. We're not working any harder, taking any additional risk, or losing control of the dollars. It's just, how can I place my hard-earned capital, protect it, grow it, get out of the government's hair, but then still have that freedom and the liquidity to do whatever I want with the money. So actually, and I was kind of talking with Jon about this because I was kind of getting on him about how he's got money that's sitting in the bank account right now. It's not doing anything. And I said, Jon, right now you're on monthly premium. Let's maybe switch you to annual or quarterly, because y'all could do that. I don't know if you guys know that, but if you start your policy off at monthly and then later on down the road, you want to switch it to quarterly, annual, semi-annual, I mean, you have that full freedom to bounce back and forth between the modes of premium. So I was like, well, hey, let's maybe switch you to like an annual premium. Just pay up the premium for the full year. That's a way that we can get more capital into the policy without having to wait the full fiscal year to keep making our monthly deposits. Or let's figure out how much we can capitalize the paid up addition premium, because that's another way of how you can get those monies inside of that environment where it's going to keep growing uninterrupted compounding interest, tax free, I'll add. And it's nothing more than just your glorified savings vehicle, right?
Yeah. No, and I'll even put the caveat, one of the things that I'm looking at right now is this is just me personally, and the disclaimer, I'm not a financial, what's the word I'm looking for? Guru. I'm not, maybe guru, I don't know. I'm not
you're pretty good though. He's pretty good.
Advisor by any means. I'm just your average guy, but for me personally, I think it's a good opportunity right now to have pretty good liquidity, and I'm kind of setting myself up for that right now. I would love to put more money into my policy right now as much as I can, but yeah, that's the back end of why I have all that.
Are you still trading, or what are you up to?
Yeah, I'm actually doing a little bit. I'm closing out some of my long positions right now. I might nerd out for a second on some technical stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right now we're April 17th, 2024 right now. So what are some things going on right now? We're in day, 540-ish of an inverted yield curve, right? Mm-hmm. And for those of you that don't know at home, an inverted yield curve is just when short-term debt instruments, typically treasury bonds, are paying out higher than long term. And one of the worries amongst a lot of financial analysts is that, those are pretty good indicators of a recession coming out. And, I'll even state that, anytime I see those statistics, I want to learn about them. That's just who I am. But I'll always take them with a grain of salt. I know it might not always be the case. It might not always follow a history. But it is something that it's better than nothing, right? Yeah. To follow those indicators. So that's going on. Right now, coming up in just a few days, there's going to be some big things going on in government. We're heading towards a big vote that's going to happen in Congress on Friday with, a new, new, I guess, I don't know what word I'm looking for. A lot of support for all the situations going on all over the world, in Ukraine, in the Red Sea, in Gaza, and in Israel. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff voted on then. So that'll obviously mess a lot up with the markets. But going back a little bit, one of the things that I've really been following lately is shipping. Okay. I'm really nerding out on shipping a lot lately. I don't know why. It's just incredibly interesting.
Probably the drones.
Yeah. But there's actually this guy I've been following on shipping. I forgot his name. But he has a YouTube channel called What's Going On with Shipping. He's got a lot of good information. And he's just really enthusiastic, and he's really passionate about his topic, or about what he talks about too. That's one of the things I really like. But what we're looking at is I think, and this is just my own personal opinion again, is I think we're approaching a paradigm shift, not ship, in shipping.
Yeah, you've been really into shipping.
I've been really into ships lately. Yeah. And that's talking about kind of the choke points going on. We've recently had the incident in Baltimore with the bridge collapse. The Suez is almost non-existent for LNG. and liquefied natural gas and liquefied petroleum gas products. And then even the Panama Canal is seeing a lot of hardships with their water shortages. And that plays into copper mining down there and a whole bunch of other political stuff I won't get into. But I really think, we're on the cusp of kind of a shift.
Say that 5 times fast.
Shift in shipping, and how a lot of carriers are going to be less reliant on these, passageways and have to, spend a little bit more money, take the long way around. And I think what we'll see there is companies will start building a lot more ships, or a lot bigger ships, I should say, that don't necessarily have to fit the restrictions of these passageways. And that's kind of led me to another topic I'm going to nerd out about is,
we're inside Jon's head.
This is a podcast of what's going on in my head. This is what's in my head right now. I know we're not where we started, but yeah, that's what happens in Jon's head sometimes.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, one of the things that I'm really interested in right now is the manufacturing of ships. And I recently read a statistic. I don't know the numbers exactly off the top of my head, but U.S. ship manufacturing, and I'm talking like big vessels, container ships, bulk dry goods ships, is almost non-existent in the United States. I think like 55% of ships, like ocean-going cargo ships, are manufactured in China, and then another 40% are manufactured in Japan and Korea. And one of the things that worries me, it doesn't keep me up at night, but it's just something I think about all the time, is, there's a lot of controversy in that part of the world right now. And it's like, what would happen if an incident were to happen? What would happen to all this supply chain if there was an issue with Taiwan and we were like, oh, we can't buy Chinese ships anymore. We got to rely on Japan and Korea, that sort of stuff. But this plays all into one of the trades that I actually closed pretty recently. Maston shipping was one of those really good ones. One of the things I do, and this is how I spend, this is my hobby, this is how I spend my free time, is I read financial statements. It's way more interesting to me than it would be to Hannah or anyone else. But this is what I do to be able to, work a job that I love and I really have a passion for, that might not be able to pay for all the luxuries I want, right? Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, being able to do something you're passionate about, you'll find a way to do all the things you want to do, no matter what the case is, especially if you have the drive and the motivation to do it. So one of the things I like to do is I will take highly calculated positions that will just help supplement my income a little bit. If I can make $300-400 a month, just doing some swing trading, right? Yeah. Then that's the money I can use to go out to dinner, to go out to a nice restaurant, be able to buy a plane ticket to come visit Hannah out here, stuff like that. So Maston shipping that was my crown jewel of last year and this year, I think, my pièce de résistance, right? Yeah. So I actually got in last fall at about 85 a share and I closed it out February-ish, about 115 a share.
There you go.
And it was really good. I read the financial statements. I saw the value that was there. I thought they were a good fundamental company, just in case I had to hold on to it for the long term. Yeah. But that's the kind of trading that I like to do. I know we've mentioned a few times on this podcast with talking about the Jekyll Island book, that's the trading I do is I do very few, highly calculated, very risk assessed trades. Yeah. So that's what goes on in my head, is I'm just always reading financial statements.
You're walking doing into research. It being educated.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my friend Ollie, and y'all know Ollie if you guys tuned into my it was my millennial wealth building boot camp back in January. I had Ollie come on, and he was talking about his trading and his different classes that he teaches. But it's all in the education of it. I mean, even within the infinite banking space, you'll feel more secured, satisfied, safe if you walk into it with an educated mindset.
I think there's no amount of learning that's too much. You can always be learning, right?
Yeah.
No matter how much you know about something, there's always more to be learned about it. What's your favorite Will Rogers quote, right?
Oh yeah,
or is the Mark Twain quote?
No, Will Rogers. It's
the more you know that you don't know, right? Something like that.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. The problem in America isn't so much what people don't know; it's what they think they know that just ain't so.
That's it. Yeah.
That is a good quote. Mark Twain. Where did that come from? Maybe
I don't know. John's head's all over the place.
That was good. That was good. All right, so Jon lives up in Michigan right now. What town are you in?
So I'm just I'm in the Metro Detroit area,
Okay.
just a little bit past Pontiac, a little township called Waterford Township.
Okay.
Yeah.
You like it?
I kind of love it there.
Okay.
So when I first moved up to Michigan, that was a year and a half ago-ish by now. I had actually never been to the state of Michigan before.
Yeah.
I've traveled a lot in my life, and Michigan was like one of 5 states I had never visited. Until I just was like on a whim, moved there for this job, and I'm so happy.
And you made friends there.
Yeah,
you really like your coworkers.
Yeah, I love my coworkers. I love all the people I work with. I love what I do. I joke that where I am in my life, I'm doing what I was meant to be doing.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so cool. I definitely respect, and I'm grateful that there's a lot of people that can't say that. And what's one of the things I love about Hannah is she can say that, right? She actually loves what she does. Every day going to work isn't work. It's just you'd be doing it as your hobby, right? If it wasn't your job.
And some of my friends, right? I don't think I've shared this on the podcast though. I've been telling when I'm just in conversations with people, like I remember when I first moved into my condo in Daytona Beach Shores. And I had a girls' night, right? And so I had all my girlfriends come over. We stayed up late. We were eating pizza, drinking wine, playing games. And, then we went to sleep that night. I was the first one to get up, like around 7:30, 8 o'clock. And nobody else was up yet. So I just got on my computer. I was like, I got nothing else to do right now. I'm just going to go on my computer, check my emails, go do something on there. And one of my best girlfriends, she woke up and she walks into my office and she's like, Hannah, what are you doing on your laptop at Sunday morning? Get off of there. Let's go do something. And I was like, well, y'all are sleeping right now. This is kind of fun for me. I don't think it's a bad thing, right? And I know she didn't mean any bad intent with it, but it's just like, we just enjoy what we do. And I think everybody needs to go out there and keep doing what makes you happy. And then it kind of led me into thinking about, hey, what are kind of like some of like my bucket list items, or right? Like your 5-year goals, your 10 years goals, your 15, 20, like where do you see yourself going in that time frame? And here for a little bit, I haven't really sat down and reworked where I want to go, just because I think I've had some past relationships and different things in my past I needed to kind of straighten out first. But I'm kind of at that point in my life right now where I need to really figure out, okay, what are some of these big goals that you want to go and see yourself? Like, because that's what I do all day long is I'm talking about money and the money business in our lives. And so, I got my money business pretty nailed down. Like I understand my goals of, all right, by this time I want to be making X amount of passive income to support myself so I can supplement my active income with that. But like adventures and stuff, I don't really know right now if there's like big things on my bucket list that I want to do before I pass, or as Nelson Nash likes to call it, when you graduate. I would say the biggest thing that's on my agenda for my life is I want to open up that boutique, have a storefront where I have my label. It's going to be Hannah Nicole. And then my storefront outside it's going to be called Aphrodite is going to be my store name. But other than that, I really don't know really what's on my bucket list or like sites I want to go see and places I want to go visit. But I know you like to travel. I mean, do you have things on your bucket list of what you want to do?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll even make the joke that Hannah and I always joke that I'll have the coffee shop that's next door. Yeah. Or we'll have a little window inside our boutique where we can.
Jon will send me, because we love Nashville. He literally sent me one time a building for sale. He's like, hey, we should go in. It's like 3.1 million. I bet we could do it.
We'll make it work. Right? Yeah, we'll find a way. We'll find a way. What's really funny is that building that sold is actually, it's a celebrity's, it's one of the country musicians' bars now.
Is it? Who is it?
I don't remember who it is off the top of my head. But we could have got in at like 3.1 million and then had a famous country musician lease out just the ground floor.
Yeah.
Not even the, I think it was a 7-story building. Not even the six floors of apartments we could have built in there.
That's it.
But so yeah, we should have done that. I don't know. We should have done that.
We weren't there yet. The opportunity will come again.
Yeah. But oh man, bucket list things. Yeah. So I love traveling. I love hiking. I love going on backpacking trips. One of the books I've read recently, I forget details. Hannah will tell you all the time that I just forget details of things. I know that the gist of a lot of stuff, but the details get me tricky sometimes. I really want to hike the Appalachian Trail.
Really?
Yeah, I know your dad.
Grandpa's doing that right now.
Brother's doing it. Yeah.
Well, Grandpa was on the trip with him. Just real quick, don't lose your train of thought. Okay, so my Uncle Tug, he's a botanist. He lives on a sailboat the majority of the time when he's not out doing his other work. But right now he is walking that trail. Grandpa went with him. Now, Grandpa, I want to say he's like 76 now, 78. Yeah, somewhere around there. Well, Grandpa, we made the little joke because anyways, he hurt his leg while he was on the trail. And now we're making the joke in the family that, yeah, Grandpa tripped on a pine cone. He had to come back home. All right, sorry to interrupt you.
No, yeah. I mean, that's just one of those things that, I've read a book about it. It seems like something so cool to do. One of the things I love being able to say about myself, or this is one of my brags, I guess, is just I love doing things that not a lot of people have done.
Mm-hmm.
And what's one of the things I can say with my work is like there's only like 100 or so drone light show pilots on the face of the earth right now. Yeah. And to me, I don't care what anyone else thinks. To me, that's just the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
So I love doing that sort of stuff. I really want to hike the Appalachian Trail because not a lot of people do it. The only problem is it takes like 6 months.
Yeah, you gotta find the time.
You gotta find the time to do it.
You gotta find passive income, right?
You gotta find passive income to get you the time, and then you're good, right?
Yeah.
So that's on my maybe 10-year plan.
10 year, 5 years.
Between 5 and 10 years. Between that.
I think between 3 and 5 years.
We'll say 5 year, and that way, if I miss it, it won't be anymore.
Actually, now that you're saying that, okay. Here, I guess, is my other bucket list item. I have a client now in the city Golden, Colorado. That has been one thing on my mind the past like 2-3 years is I do want a place in Golden, Colorado because it's right outside Denver because y'all know me. Y'all know I love to go to my music festivals, listen to live music. And it's right outside of Denver, which is like the bass capital of the country. And so you're close enough to Denver that you can go to the music shows out there, but you're far away enough that you're in the mountainous valleys, and it's a beautiful, beautiful area. But that's actually one of my goals is to have like maybe not rental, but just a property out there. We'll figure out what I want to do with it once I have it, but that's another goal I'm going to have now that you say that.
So I can go on that too. I think one of my goals too is, I love the wilderness. I want a house that's just alone in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Whether it's on the side of a mountain in Colorado or Utah, if it's in I don't care where it is, honestly. I just want a place that I can just like get peace and quiet. No one's around. I can build a little campfire, do that sort of thing.
The nearest grocery store is like an hour away.
Yeah, even further than that.
Further? Have you seen the place in Idaho?
I mean, you showed me a picture of it. Yeah.
Island Park, Idaho. That's a really, really cool place, y'all. If you haven't checked that little town out, it has the best groomed snowmobiling trails. So like every night during the winter, they'll come through and groom the trails. And then in the summertime, it's the best for ATV riding. You know, you can do hiking, you can do your paddle boarding, canoeing, and different things. There's a whole bunch of wildlife out there. Like I remember even going down the river there and we saw a mama moose and a baby moose just sitting there in the water. And I was like, ooh, I shouldn't be going any further because they're right there in the middle of my track and I'm a little nervous right now. They're huge. They're right off about 45 minutes away from the gates of West Yellowstone. So it's a beautiful area. You should do. Idaho is definitely an underrated state.
For sure, yeah.
Not a lot of people talk about Idaho, but it's beautiful out there.
I went to, you know about it. I went to Glacier National Park last year, right? I was able to get a week and a half off from work. So I was like, I'm going to go backpacking up there. It's a great time to do it. I found a really cheap flight up there. That just sweetened the deal for me. And I actually went with my dad up there. And I think the drive we flew into Portland, the drive from Portland through Coeur d'Alene and then over to Glacier National Park was
beautiful.
Not as gorgeous as Glacier National Park, but it was up there. It was up there. Idaho gets slept on, I think.
It does.
And even then, I did a show last year in Sun Valley.
Okay.
So you like Boise or Idaho City, I think. Just straight up north into the mountains. Just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any place like it in the United States, right? That I can think of off the top of my head, at least.
And I need to take the van up there.
Yeah.
I have never taken the van. If you guys don't tune into my vlog channel, I have my vlog. It's if you just go to YouTube, type in my name, Hannah Kessler. Hannah spelled the same ways forwards and backwards, Kessler with one S. Speaking of that, y'all, too, it's so funny. Some of y'all will write in emails to me and you'll say, hey, Hannah, spelled the same ways forwards and backwards. And you'll actually type my name with little h, A-N-N-A, big H. And y'all crack me up sometimes. But I need to take the van out there because I just finished up my 6-week trip over to California. I left from Daytona Beach, went all the way to Oceanside, California. But I stayed south just because it was the winter time. I left in January. Didn't really want to go north. Did that before. I went north and my pipes froze. I don't even know if you know this. My pipes froze in my van. And I was like, all right, we got to go south. It'll thaw it out. But I want to go up to like that northern Pacific West kind of territory up there. So like Washington, Northern California, and then Oregon. I've never been to Oregon.
I just had a thought too. Jon thought of this minute of podcast, whatever it might be. I've been telling you for years I want to build a schoolie.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
So maybe
we haven't talked about that in a while.
Maybe that will replace my cabin, right?
Yeah.
I just build out my schoolie and then I can just take that wherever I want.
That's true.
I need to do that. That'll be on my 5-year.
5-year, okay.
5-year schoolie, 10-year outlet show.
Now, would you build it, or are you gonna hire someone to build it?
Oh, I'm gonna build it.
You're gonna build it?
Yeah.
See, I hire it.
It's gonna be the way I want it. Like, so I'm the kind of guy that like I don't trust anyone else's work except for mine. If you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself.
I feel it. Well, you have the skills for it too.
Yeah. Not to brag, but yeah.
No, because like honestly, even my father. Ask my father to go freaking change the oil in the car. Yeah, no. He actually makes the joke. If he could go to a full-service gas station, he would. I'm serious.
He needs to move up to New Jersey or something.
And I feel like that. I feel like I have that same personality sometimes, just a little bit.
Yeah. I even refuse to like go to a car shop to do anything on my car. I'm like, I can change anything on it myself.
I mean, if you can, do it. Use the expertise. I mean, that's good skills to have. I think, too, growing up, especially like in our generation, we kind of lack that.
I think that's that is a big problem, I think, in the United States right now that, I think gets looked not overlooked, but, I guess your standard blue collar worker, your welders, your HVAC technicians, your mechanics, all those people, that's almost a dying breed. And I think, in carpenters as well, I know I'm missing a few. If you're one of those people in those workforces, don't blame me. I'm trying to my mind's all over the place already. But I think as a country need to value those jobs a lot more than we do.
Yeah.
And I think there's
Because
something.
if shit goes to the fan.
Yeah.
I didn't say that right.
But I think one of the things that this leads into education, and that's a whole other can of worms. But we're all taught, right? Go to college, get a degree in whatever it is. But how many college degrees are in the trades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot of them. And a lot of the people I've grown up with now, they work in the trades, and they make way more money than any of your marketing majors, any of your business majors. I know people that have MBAs that are looking for jobs right now. They're working at restaurants because there just are no jobs. I think if you work in a trade or have those skill sets, then you'll always be able to support yourself, support your family. That's just Jon thought. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Hey, so after this trip, we're gonna actually head out tomorrow. I was even going to go farther ahead in the future. I think after this recording, we may, depending on how we feel, we may go for a hike like around here, or we may go lay out by the pool or go do something chillax like that. But we're heading out tomorrow, and tomorrow's Thursday. And when you leave here, what do you got going on?
So I'm actually leaving here to go straight to Atlanta to go fly a 300 drone show. Literally getting in morning of the show. Hope my flight doesn't get delayed or canceled. That suck.
Have you been checking the weather?
Yeah, I've been checking it.
Okay. I don't know why I had to ask that. Of course you've been checking it. Nerd. Yeah. Just kidding. No, that's good. All right, what else is going on in your head, though?
I don't know. The sun's definitely beating down.
I know.
It's getting warm out here.
And we've been sitting here chit-chatting for a little bit. Sorry, no, but y'all, honestly, I'll have Jon on again. We need to sit down. We need to go through our book.
We need to finish the book. Yeah.
We need to finish the book. What do you think? We're not even halfway, are we?
We're not even close.
It's a big book.
I'll take the blame for it too. I was just like reading it. So we even said it at the beginning of it. We're like, this is a really hard read. It might be better to listen to it or something first. And we couldn't even make it there with all of those chapters to start up. I was like, we made that last podcast, and I was like getting ready to take my notes down. I opened up the book, and I was just like, I need to read something else. I can't do this.
I mean, it's good. It is really interesting information.
Yeah.
It does. It just kind of gets a little dull there after a while. And it is, okay, argue me this. I haven't said this out loud yet, but sometimes it's a little repetitive.
Yeah.
It's good information, but it's repetitive in like the same context, just a different location.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But y'all should. We were talking about this actually earlier when we were here. I am not a big Audible fan just because I like it old school. I like to have my book. I like to flip through the pages. I like to read. I like to smell the book. And I probably need to get on board a little bit more with listening to books, which you love to listen to books.
I spend a lot of time driving, so I can't read a book while I'm driving, so I got to listen to something. And the book just keeps me engaged a little bit better, I think.
See, where I'm more of like a music and like podcast girly over here. But all right. But anyways, I'll have Jon back on the show. If y'all have not heard, which you should have by now, but the Money Multiplier Live Mastermind, we're going to be holding it in Nashville, Tennessee this year. I know I was talking a little bit about it, and y'all heard my big PSA that we had to move the dates. But October 10, 11, 12 in Nashville this year, 2024, I have a lot of home office officials coming down, doing some great presentations. Chris Noggle, my father, Brent Kessler, Stephen Nagy, Devin Burr, just a lot of us, the whole gang's going to be out there. We're just going to go deep into policies, how to better capitalize them, use the system, and different strategies of maybe it's estate planning or tax savings. So we're just going to go deep into that and then come hang out with us. So actually, I just toured the hotel with my mom this past week. We're out there in Nashville. We went to this little show together. And I said, well, shit, we're in town right now. Might as well just go check out the hotel while we're here. And it's a beautiful location. The people there are so nice. I was so not surprised, but I was just like, wow, it was just a thing that I realized of how nice the folks are out there. And it's only 3 blocks away from Broadway. So after that, you can go listen to the live band. You can drink a beer and we can just chit chat. And as just what Jon and I did today, we can shoot the shit together.
Yeah.
So I appreciate y'all for tuning into the show. Subscribe to the YouTube. Leave us 5 stars. You can always reach out to me if you got questions. So send me an email, hannah@themoneymultiplier.com. And actually something that's new as of like this week, we actually even have a podcast email. So if you email podcast@themoneymultiplier.com. I have my best girlfriend, Maddie, who's monitoring that email because y'all have seen our merch, all right? Our past episodes where Chris and myself and the whole gang, we were out there in New Zealand. You saw some of that new podcast merch that we have. So if you want some merch, we got stickers and we're actually in the process of making even some other merch materials too. Reach out to that email and we'll get you squared away with merch for y'all. So before I let y'all go, Jonathan, is there anything else you want to add?
I got one question for you. Do your dollars make sense?
Oh, I like that. Do your dollars make sense, y'all? I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.